coming from, like for me, I went to school to be a teacher, so I was not in that space at all. And then from him, the same thing too. Didn't go to college for any of that kind of stuff. So it was like we knew that.
What's up? Is your favorite country cousin JT Automations back again, and I've introduced you all time and time again to the Barnetts, and they're the subject matter experts here on this channel for all things credit and funding. But something that we've never really covered was their story. So in this video, I want to actually share with you all their story and how it benefits you. As maybe you're somebody out there right now that doesn't have good credit, or somebody that knows they need to improve their credit or get something off their credit. Maybe you're somebody out there that says, hey, I wish I had the money to do XYZ, but you just don't know how to go get the money. Well, getting funding and improving your credit to get the funding is way faster than you trying to save up enough money to buy whatever it is you want to buy, invest in whatever you want to invest in. So I'm going to challenge you all to share your story, because that's something we never did. So prior to y'all having a credit and funding business, what were y'all doing?
I was working a 9 to 5 at Campbell Snacks, working about 84 hours a week.
84 hours a week.
Between 60 and 84 hours a week.
Yeah.
Trying to get JT bring home like 2,000 a week after working them 84, and hey, that was money right there.
Yeah.
But I felt myself like after paying bills, it still wasn't enough. It just wasn't adding up. And so I damn near worked myself to death. And I just remember coming home one morning telling Keisha, passing out actually. When I passed out, I got up and I told Keisha what happened. She was like, we're going to the doctor. And for most men that's watching us, y'all know that's the last spot we're trying to be at the doctor. So we wound up going to the hospital, and they did a couple of tests. They told me I had to get a heart surgery. And so I got the heart surgery done, and then I just remember laying on the table, JT, and them telling me that, not them telling me, but I remember laying on the table just thinking like everything I haven't done. Just remember thinking about everything I want to do, just thinking about my baby girl. And so I just remember coming out the hospital telling Keisha, like, we got to get it going. You know what I mean? That was crazy. And after that, a little bit of time after that, I wound up going, a couple months after that, I wound up going back to the hospital, find out I was a full-blown diabetic. And all this happened in like 7 months.
Exactly. Like I said before, it's like with him, he was working a 9 to 5, working all those hours. Yeah. I was a teacher for a while, but then I kind of transferred. I started working for corporate America. I was working from home, doing a lot of things that way too, but still working, a traditional 9 to 5, and trying to make ends meet, but it still just was not enough. Like I said, even with 2 incomes, if, most of us know it still ain't enough money, right? So we knew we needed more. And so when he went to the hospital, that was scary, because I'm thinking at that point, now we went down to 1 income, not 2. So that was just me working. We got a daughter to take care of who was like 1.5 at the time, paying for daycare, paying for bills. He's not able to do it because his health was more important. Like I said, then he went back to the hospital again, which is another scare. So I'm working, we're still paying the bills, making ends meet, doing what we got to do. But then even right after that, like a couple months after the next month after he got out of that hospital for the second time, my dad got sick. So when he got sick, naturally, his family first, I'm going back and forth to the hospital, visiting him, trying to take care of him. I ended up losing my job. So you talk about something scary within 7 months, like I lost my job. He doesn't have a job. All we had at that point was like our credit, honestly. We had our credit and the knowledge that we had learned, because prior to that, we had taken some courses and things, just kind of learned about it. We got in a business credit card, but we really hadn't done a whole lot with it, because we really didn't know what to do with it. But what we ended up doing is we invested in the Airbnb property with that business credit card, and, started making some money off of that. But then we started like doing credit repair and started doing funding. And literally like that 7 months right there, we thought, was like the end of the world, because we didn't have a job. We had to take care of bills. The next 7 months, we were able to make 6 figures, like within 7 months' time, because we were able to use the skills that we already had. We'd already fixed our own credit. We'd already gotten our own funding. So we knew at that point we had to turn up. There was no other choice. Like when your back is against the wall, you're going to do whatever you got to do to make sure you don't fail. So we knew that failing was not an option. So from that point on, we, had the credit repair business going, we had the funding business going, had the Airbnb business going. We were able to generate the 6 figures in the 7 months' time. And then from there, we just started teaching other people how to do the same thing, because we knew if we could do it, and like I said, coming from 2 people with no, like we ain't talking about no financial background of knowing everything about credit repair, coming from, like for me, I went to school to be a teacher, so I was not in that space at all. And then from him, the same thing too, didn't go to college for any of that kind of stuff. So it was like, we knew that everyday people coming from 9 to 5s, anybody can do it.
And JT, also, we also got that South Carolina education. So, hey, if we can do it, anybody can do it. But, and the crazy thing is, y'all, like, sometimes things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And that's one thing we had to realize and understand, like, things that wasn't happening to us, they was happening for us. Because one thing about it, like God was trying to sit me down and show me, like, I got this for you. But I was just moving too much, working all them hours. I didn't have time. So sometimes when we don't have time, He will sit us down and show us what's in front of us.
All right. I kind of want to take a step back because there's a lot of important gems that I think can benefit the viewer of this. So one thing y'all said is prior to, you know, those unfortunate 7 months where you got sick and later you lost your job as well, and y'all have a daughter to raise, y'all already have the knowledge, right? So lots of times people are afraid to invest in knowledge because they think it's a scam or they think it costs too much money. What made y'all go get that knowledge proactively? Because it sounds like before you was killing it, making $2,000 a week, you was killing it in corporate America. What made y'all want to go get that knowledge when y'all was in a space where a lot of people feel like, hey, y'all made it already?
Yeah.
For me, I wanted more. Like I wanted some time back because I was getting them all my time. And I'm also doing my side hustles, but like I said, it just wasn't adding up. So I wanted more, and I know we deserve more. And so that's what made us go all in, and that's what made us educate ourselves.
And I know one thing for him, he used to always come home showing me stuff about credit. He was watching these videos on YouTube of, like, it was a guy taking his wife on a private jet off credit. It was like how you could pay your credit. It was like all these things, and he was like, you know, he had a real like love for it. And so we just decided, okay, let's invest in it. Because the one thing too, and ladies, like y'all probably will resonate with this. One thing I realized that his credit was always pretty good, right? You know, when we got a house, put it in, you know, his name, all that kind of stuff. My credit was okay, but it needed some work on it. But I did realize one thing, especially, you know, when that situation happened, that if something happens to him today, I can't take his credit with me. So that right there let me know you got to get your credit together and get yourself together too, because you're going to need credit, obviously, to buy another house if you want to do that, to do, you know, do whatever, get the funding, start the business. I was going to need it as well too. So I had to make sure that I was going to be in the same position as him. You know, God forbid anything happened. But even without that, just both of us having good credit together, we knew we could go farther with that. We could get more funding, we could get more if we want to buy properties or whatever. So that led us to really going there. Like, so we took that class, and honestly, we took the classes. You know how people, you take classes, you kind of sit on it, but him going in that situation, it made us act on it. We could no longer just sit. So now we know, like, the time is now, like, no opportunity wasted. When we get knowledge, we got to apply it right away. You can't sit around waiting on it.
Absolutely. And another thing, another gem, like when both of us have good credit, like if I go out here and fund myself $250,000, she can go out here and fund herself $250,000. We just came up on a $500,000.
Just like that.
Just by having good credit.
Absolutely, right? So it sounds like it's super important to be proactive, not reactive. So if you're watching this, whether you got money, don't have money, wherever you at in life, right, now is the time to be proactive and position yourself to have more in the future than you have now, right? Whether it's more time or money or whatever it is, right? So next question I have for you all that I think is a interesting part of your story. Do y'all mind sharing with us a time, probably during those 7 months, maybe it wasn't, where y'all didn't have the money to do something, but y'all still did it anyway, whether y'all figured out a way to do it without the money or leverage credit to do it? Because I know, especially during those hard times, that's usually when people want to hold on to the money and say, hey, look, man, I don't got a job. You don't got a job. Let's just live off of our credit cards to pay the bills, or let's live off our savings to pay the bills. And it seems like y'all did the opposite. Y'all went on offense and said, let's start a business, even though we don't got a job, and, you know, get more money coming in through that instead of trying to live off the credit cards.
Yeah. So one of the first things we did, and I thought, I ain't gonna lie, I thought he was crazy when he said this. I'm like, dude, what? We ain't got no money. Was starting that Airbnb, right? So it was on the credit card. Yes, it was. So we leveraged that credit, but
with no jobs at this time.
Jobs. Like, you know what I mean? And not only one, but two, because we ended up doing a second one a couple months down the line. But the thing was, in my mind, I was so conditioned to think, you got to work to pay these bills. You got to work to pay this credit card back. Not realizing, well, you know, once you invest on that credit card, the money that you're going to bring in from that business is going to pay that credit card back. So was it scary? Yes, but it was like that point in putting faith over fear. And so I went along with it, and I'm glad I did. Like, if it wouldn't have been for him, I probably would have never done that. But he pushed me, and I'm like, because I'm thinking like, okay, you ain't able to go to work. I'm like, I ain't got no, so what we going to do if this don't work? But it's like, only thing that works is work. So we had to give it a chance, and I'm glad we did, because that not only did that allow us to pay off that one credit card, we made like $60,000 that year, and we were able to go back and get another one. Like, still no jobs now, so we're working for ourselves with just this, but it's using that same credit card because they gave us an increase on it. So
All right. And if I'm clear on this, it seemed like Ty, you encouraged your wife to take the action, but why weren't you afraid to do it? Like, you just had surgery, you found out you had diabetes, you don't got a job. Why weren't you afraid to make that investment at that time?
I was a little bit, but I had to put faith over fear, and that's something we learned to do together. Put that faith over fear, and just not that. I was banking on like all the information that I had and obtained and then learned in the last couple months, and like I say, it paid off.
All right. Absolutely. Right. So we talked about not having the money. We talked about the belief system. We talked about the backstory. Right. So, are there any, if you guys could go back to, which hopefully you never do, but if you guys had to go back to that 7th month period, is there anything you would have did differently, or did you think everything was perfect the way it worked out? Any advice to anybody that may be going through a similar struggle now is what I'm looking for.
For me, I would say, I mean, hindsight 2020, like right when it was going on, I'm scared. I was like, ain't no way in the world it's gonna happen, because I'm thinking in my mind, I gotta get another job. I don't know what he's talking about, but that's what my mind was. But hindsight 2020, I probably would have did it faster, right?
Okay.
I probably would have got more than one Airbnb. I probably would have figured out how to get more funding earlier on to be able to do more things so we could leverage it. Because when you think about it, when you act fast, you're gonna get things, you're gonna get the income coming in faster. Mm-hmm. So we kind of waited, because it was that piece of me that was a little bit afraid, a little bit, have a little bit of fear there. So I would say, if anything, I wouldn't change a whole lot, but if anything, I probably would have said, all right, let's go get more funding right now versus banking on one card. We would have did more credit card stacking.
And for me, like, I don't advise this to nobody, but for me, it would have been quit my job faster. Because if I would have quit my job faster, I would have became uncomfortable. And when you become uncomfortable, you start to make things happen. Entrepreneurship is not comfortable, but you're back up against the wall, but you still making it happen. You got to make it happen. And yeah, I would have just quit my job faster just to kind of get things going a lot faster.
All right. And how long ago was that? Like, so I know y'all said it was a 7-month time frame, but how long have y'all been entrepreneurs now?
Let's see. He had his surgery back in November 2020. Yeah, November 2023. So it ain't even been 2 full years. But when we started that whole the credit repair business, that was probably last year. It hadn't been maybe just 1 year at this point.
All right. So it can happen fast. You could go from fear to being a successful entrepreneur fast, right? Because I think a lot of people imagine that it's not going to work for them, or it's going to be a very slow process. And they hear stuff like a lot of businesses aren't profitable until year 3, 5, 10 or something like that. So with the right business and with the right knowledge, you all can definitely be successful no matter, what your current situation is, right? Do either y'all parents come from money? Like, granddaddy was rich, daddy was rich, mama was rich?
Nah, anybody.
No. We're from the same city, but just different sides of town. I'm from the projects, and so I kind of grew up. My mama stayed in the project, but my daddy, he stayed middle class up in Charlotte. So I kind of had the best of both worlds, but I stayed with my mom in the project. So I remember going to the store with the food stamps. I remember seeing the struggle. I remember seeing the dope boys run to the cars, and so. Yeah, it didn't come from money at all.
No. Yeah. Like I said, but me, same thing too. I grew up with my mom and my grandmother. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a single parent, single mother, might as well say, but my grandmother helped raise me as well too. So not coming from money is a thing, and it's but we also knew it's I'm not saying we had poverty, but what I'm saying a lot of times in our communities we have generational poverty where we have that mindset of all you can do is work, graduate, go to school, graduate. And either go to the NFL or go to college and just get a job and work until you retire. Nobody ever teaches us how to think for ourselves. Nobody ever says go get mentorship. Right? That was probably one of the biggest blessings for us during that time, getting mentorship and learning how to do other things on your own. I went to college, got a master's degree, all of that, but I still was able to make more money after taking the mentorship than I was by going to college. So that's just, like I said, didn't come from money, but one thing we love to say is generational poverty may have ran into your family until it runs into you. So you got to be the stopping point of that.
All right, one last question I have for y'all, and either one of y'all can take whatever side of the argument y'all want to. So I heard you say the importance of mentorship. So can one of you all speak to how important is it to have a mentor? Because I know a lot of people think that mentors are just people that's trying to take your money and run. And on this other side, right, there's a lot of people that have a skill set. but they might downplay it because they the one that have it. Like, I always knew this, or it can't be that valuable. Nobody would pay me for this. So can the other one of you all talk about why it's important that if you know something to teach what you know as well?
Absolutely, because it's important to teach because people don't know what they don't know. And what we think people know, like I say, they don't know it. So whenever you learn something, you got to share that. Like I say, you creating a service because if you can solve a problem for yourself, you can solve a problem for somebody else. And now they can go out here and help somebody else solve a problem as well. And mentorship is very important because this is going to keep you from bumping your head. This is going to keep you from making the wrong turn. Meaning you don't have to go out here and try and start a business and mess up 10, 15,000. When you got a millionaire who already did it and made multiple millions off of it, who can show you the same game.
All right. So Keisha, what about being a mentee? Is that important? Do you think that people should get mentored?
Yeah, I really do because, like, honestly, you think about it, we've been mentored almost our whole life, right? Like, from going to school with teachers, from going to college, wherever you at, job shadowing, however. But I think when you find a mentor in the area that you really desire to do in any like specialty area, whether it's credit repair, funding, Turo, any of that stuff, finding somebody like Ty said who's already bumped their head, who's already went through all the pitfalls of it, having somebody show you the way, like it's like kind of like a GPS system. Having that GPS system to keep you from going off road, having that GPS system to get you to your destination faster is a beautiful thing. Like when we done it, it helped us figure out how to get our Airbnbs without having to save up all that money. It showed us how to start a credit repair business without having to, jump through all the hoops. So being a mentee, it's always good to be a student. I think you should forever be a student of some sort, right? Even if you're going to be a teacher at some point, just being a student of somebody because knowledge is, it's always ever changing. So being able to get that knowledge firsthand from somebody who's already done it is invaluable. And then it allows you, like I said, to be in real time. When you think about it, when you're in school, they're just teaching you from like a perspective of somebody else. When you're getting a mentor, you're getting it from like firsthand experience. Like they've already done it. They've already been there, done that. And now they're showing you the ropes and you can just go do the same thing.
Absolutely. Because I know for us, just joining our first mentorship, that was one of the greatest opportunities ever because it opened up all the doors for us. If we wouldn't have joined that one mentorship.
Do you mind sharing how much it was? Because people be...
It was $20,000.
Yeah.
Yep. So our first mentorship was $20,000. And if we wouldn't have spent that $20,000, we wouldn't know half of the stuff that we know today.
Exactly.
And I know she was kicking me for spending the money, but like I say, that's one of the best. And that's one thing about it, y'all. We got to remember, like, we're investing in ourselves. Like, we're not going out here spending that. We investing. And that's what you got to do, invest.
And like you said, even like, it's one of those things too. Like, we didn't have $20,000 saved, but it's like one of those things of you can use your credit on, you can, make payments on, whatever you have to do, but it paid us back. Like, you got to look at it too. And the one reason I was very hesitant, I'm like, that's a lot of money to spend. But when you think about college, it's way more than $20,000. You know what I mean? Student loans already sitting out there, $100,000 or more. So you got to think when you invest that much, or not all of them cost that much, but when you're investing that money, you're getting that money right back because you're learning skills that you can use right away. It ain't something that you got to wait years on down the line. You ain't got to wait for no diploma. You ain't got to wait for no, degree. You get that skill and you go run with it and go do what you got to do and make 10, 20 times as much as you invested.
All right. So, hey, there you have it, you guys. It's super important for you all to take immediate imperfect action. What does that mean? You don't got to wait until you know everything about credit, everything about funding in order to make money, right? We operate in what I call a live economy, meaning that things change all the time. So whether it's politics or the economy or whatever, so you're never going to know everything because everything is always changing. All you need to know is enough to get started and then everything else will come. So I want you to connect with practitioners, people that do this day in and day out. And that's what the Barnetts are. They literally, not only do they teach it, they help people fix their credit. They help people get funding. They get funding for themselves. They fix their own credit as well. So these aren't people that's just telling you what they read in a book, or even though they got mentorship, it's not just, hey, what somebody told them or what they read. It's what they've actually went on and did in the live market. And in my opinion, these are the best people to teach you how to do anything, right? So I do understand y'all got an upcoming training. Do you mind sharing with the people what they can expect to learn on that training?
Yeah, so during that training, they're going to learn how to get access to, first of all, they're going to learn how to fix their credit and get at least a 700 credit score. They're going to learn how to get access to anywhere from $50 to $250K in funding. And they're going to learn how to start and scale and grow their own credit repair and funding business too.
All right. So, hey, link to that is down in the description below. Be sure to tap in with them. Until next time, I'm Hustler. Stay hustling. JT Automations. I'm gone.